Are you all ready to be empowered, inspired, and uplifted? Well, that's what you're going to get from this episode because I'm going to be talking to a phenomenal woman, Miss Zaakirah N Muhammad, and her story is just absolutely amazing, okay? So you all stay tuned, and of course, please do not forget to have your notebooks, pens, or pencils ready because nuggets is going to be dropped all through this episode. All right, stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Real Reading Talk. I am your most gracious host, Miss Sasha. And with Real Reading Talk, we discuss the real systemic issues that are at the very core, the very foundation as to why there are low levels of literacy in the Black community and the ways in which we can combat these issues together. All right, everyone. And of course, for those of you who have been rocking with me, you know that I said for season 3 that I was dedicating this season to make sure, as much as I possibly can, get as many authors on here, in particular Black authors, all right, to come on and talk about their story, their journey, their reading journey in terms of how they grew up in a household, whether it was reading or not, all of those different things. I wanted them to be able to share that with you all. And so I've been right on track with doing that because today I have a phenomenal guest. Her story is just so amazing, you all. And her name is Sister Zaakirah Muhammad, and she is a creative strategist and brand consultant. And let's put on there an author as well, okay? I told y'all I was coming through, y'all. I mean, just so amazing. And I'm just so honored to be able to have her as a guest on my show, Real Reading Talk. So I'm going to go ahead and let her come on in and tell you all about who she is. So everybody, welcome. Yay, Sister
Thank you,
Zaakirah.
Sasha.
Welcome, beautiful. Yes. How
Yes,
are
thank you for
you?
having me. I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
That is so awesome. Well, I'm definitely happy to have you here, and I'm glad that the audience is going to be able to learn about who you are. And just to be clear, y'all, we did not meet in person. Okay, we met in
Not yet.
them
Not
internet
yet.
streets. Not yet. That's right, not yet. Okay, we met in them internet streets. You know what I'm saying? The social media streets. Okay, so we got connected and everything. And I was actually checking her out because when I was looking up different podcasts and I saw hers, I was like, wow. And then she was talking about how many. Matter of fact, tell everybody how many downloads. Tell everybody the name of your podcast real quick, and then how many downloads you got. And
Okay.
brag on it.
Yeah, I'll start right there. That yeah, we can
Yep.
add the title podcaster as well. I feel like my purpose was born to be a storyteller by any means. So I have a podcast also based off of the name of my book. The podcast is called See Life Different. And yeah, there goes the book. The book is called Seeing Life Through a Different Lens. And I've been podcasting for March 2023, makes 4 years and 100 episodes. In March 2023, we will reach 100 episodes. We're going to celebrate in person because that's a feat.
Yes.
That is a feat. Yes, 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 yes. So it's about everything. It's about womanhood. It's about sisterhood. It's about adversity. It's about faith. It's about entrepreneurship. It's about creativity. So all the realms for any marginalized women, predominantly that's who listen, the moms who need that escape. That's what the podcast is for. It empowers you to hear things differently, see life differently, and
Mm.
literally live life differently.
Yes, yes, indeed, y'all. So I had to have y'all here, her tell you all about the podcast because I was just like, when I looked, I said, wow, man, I'm just so proud of this sister right here. So now we're gonna go back a little bit. So we are going to find out about Zaakirah's background. Tell everybody about where you're from and your family and all that good stuff we need to know about you.
Yes, well, I am Zakira, and my name is Arabic for the hereafter, the afterlife. And I love to call myself an East Coaster because I'm from all up and down the East Coast. But the hospital that I was born in was previously named Broward General, and I think right now it's just named Broward Hospital or General Hospital. I don't know, gentrification. But Florida girl by birth and country girl also by nationality as well. My dad is from Tennessee, my mom from New York, and they decided to have a change of scenery and birth me in Florida. I have siblings from Atlanta, Georgia, and my other siblings are also from Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. So
Oh,
I'm everywhere.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. A couple hours
yeah.
away from me, Cleveland. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
so that's pretty much how we got started. I think being the youngest of a blended family and
Mm.
so in spirituality as well. Just I am the child of the product of reverting to Islam from Christianity and in that era of the civil rights area as well of everyone really just wanting to really explore something different. We need something different, it's that fight for freedom. So I'm a product of that. Also, another little known fact is I am a descendant of Frederick Douglass on my mother's side.
What?
I am.
Okay, y'all. Come. Did I hit the jackpot, y'all? Listen. Listen. Oh my goodness. Once you learn to read, you will be forever.
Forever, forever, ever, forever, ever.
Okay, why are you about to like start making some tears come in my eyes already?
That's what
Hold
I
on.
do.
Zaakirah. Oh my goodness. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. I this right here, okay, this is about to be a heartfelt conversation for real, y'all. I mean, she really, y'all, and for those y'all already know. I mean, how dope is this, right? Real reading talk. That's my what do you call it? Your signature, when you send emails, whatever, you have like your little quotes or whatever.
Yeah, quote.
That's yeah, I have my quote. That's the quote I got. When I send my emails, once you learn to read, you will be forever free. That's on my t-shirts, okay, that
Mhm.
I sell. All right, from on my store, Reading is Freedom. I mean it okay. All right, go ahead, please,
Yeah.
continue. How did okay, so how did you when did you find that out? You know what I'm saying? When did you all, when did your mom tell you, you know what I'm saying? Hey, this is your descendant. Like, have you all been to family reunions, where you saw, other, family members who are descendants of
Yeah.
Israel?
So
Okay.
it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
The way that I found out though was my mom. I did literally grow up understanding fully that once you learn to read, you'll be forever free, and that knowledge is power. Because my mom was a librarian for a good few years of my childhood. So one of those one of the libraries that she worked at was the African American Research Library and Cultural Center. She was in the research department and came across the family tree um, that was from our family reunion, which were the descendants, not Douglas, but further down to Bailey. Before it was Douglas, it's the Bailey family. So Bailey,
Mm.
and then they intermarried into the Catton family. So that's my line. And so she actually was able to show me the actual family tree when she was working at the library. But she knew that because she grew up, going to from New York to Philly all the time for family reunions. So she knew this and she just was able to show me. And so for me, I was 7 years old, I believe, when I saw this. And of course, that's that age where that's the trajectory of your life.
Yeah.
And although I was always looking at the family tree like, where am I? But I believed it because I saw my mom and my aunties. So that's where it stopped. So that's where I knew it's like, okay, it's up to me to continue this. But
Right.
yeah, I was 7 when I found that out. My mom was also a librarian around that time frame too, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I grew up around libraries, and um, before I could learn to read, my mom was reading to me all kinds of books, especially the holy book, and yeah, that's it. I've literally grown up around books.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I mean, this right here, this is just so special, because, of course, from the fact that, I mean, you're a descendant of Frederick Douglass. I mean, come on, y'all. This is just like sweet. And then, you know what I had just learned actually, which I'm quite sure you already know, with the last name Bailey, about the whole significance with that, right?
So go ahead and speak it out in case anybody else
Okay,
doesn't.
right. Okay. So I just found this out, and I'm going to give a shout out because Actually, it was Dr. Bilal Ware. He's a renowned professor of African American studies and all of those things, and Islamic studies. But with Bailey, the last name. So if anybody has the last name Bailey, actually, it is said that it is originally Bilali,
Mm-hmm.
which is the Islamic. Everybody heard, well, I'm not saying everybody, most people heard the name Bilal. All
Mm-hmm.
right, that's usually a popular name that you may hear, especially in the Black community. But Bilal comes from Bilali. Okay, and so these were Muslims. So usually, like, of course, our enslaved ancestors, a lot of them who were taken, they were taken from West Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those Africans, they were Muslim. All right. And so when you hear somebody who has the last name Bailey, that is that's really a form of Bilali. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So it was basically said that more than likely Frederick Douglass, he came, his family, because that was through his mother's, name,
Mm-hmm.
came from, an Islamic background. So when I heard that, of course, being an African American Muslim woman, that's empowering, right? That whole identification piece, the representation piece, that is very important. So just wanted to say that. So that's very dope, man. And then the fact, though, just how your mom, a librarian, it was like a no-brainer. Hello, Zaakirah was going to grow up in a household full of reading. I mean, can you please tell us about those any special moments you remember when your mom read aloud to you? You already said that. So can you give us any special times that you remember when she was reading aloud to you?
Yeah, I think so for me, of course as a child there's some books that spark my interest and some books that bore me, but as I get older I'm like, "Oh, I'm glad she read that book to me." But for
Right.
me, I've always been a world traveler. So the books she's big on James Baldwin, Alice Walker,
Mm.
um Joe Near Hurston. So for me, I would my ears, my hard of hearing ears, I should throw that in and say that I'm also a childhood eye cancer survivor, and as a result of the radiation treatment, I lost my hearing a little bit, but I can still lip read, and I've been blessed to protect my ear thus far to still be able to hear slightly without hearing aid, but mainly with hearing aid. But anyways, I say all that to say, even when my mom was reading to me, the parts where James Baldwin, Alice Walker, Johnny Hudson, for example, were traveling, I was always like, oh, they were going places beyond the United States. I wonder what that looks like. So for me, I was always fascinated with Africa. So once I knew about it, what it was, where it was, and the fact that we actually did come from there long, long time ago, those were the types of books slash magazines slash essays that fascinated me the most.
Mm, that is amazing. And I just love, I mean, I'm just like just so in awe of you, because those are the types of experiences that I truly want for our Black families in particular, because of just what you said. It's like being immersed in that literacy culture, that literacy space. What people have to understand is that that is a part of our history. You talked about how you loved Africa. Well, we know that that was a place in which where you had Timbuktu. It was one of the places. That wasn't the only place, okay, where you can, have that seat of knowledge, but that was a well-known, place where that was the first university, Sankore University, which is in Timbuktu, western part of Africa, once again, in which books were worth more than gold. Okay, so you talking about, we come from a history of literacy. We come from a history of, making sure that we placed high value, high importance on reading, storytelling, all of those different types of things. So, and that's, inshallah, God willing, that's one of the goals in which I want to see happen for our community. We got to get
Mhm,
back to that. It's like, here, we
mhm,
got to get back to that. And that's why one of the reasons why I got you here, because you're gonna help us do this, because you're gonna be giving us some tips and tools and all of that. But what I
mhm,
want to do, I want to go ahead and go into, because since when you have brought up the fact of you being a cancer survivor, and I'm glad, and of course we was going to talk about that, and I'm glad you brought it in, because I want the people to hear about your amazing story in terms of you being a cancer survivor, and what type of cancer that you were diagnosed with. So if you would please share that story with us.
Yes, so I'll first start with kudos to my mom as well for still believing in the power of knowledge and the power of books. So I was diagnosed officially at 6 months old with a rare childhood eye cancer called retinoblastoma. And technology back then was not as great as it is now. So historically, the survival rate the survival rate up to the age of 5 was 95%. Now it's a bit better. I've been able to meet people that are my age, that we all just can now bond over survivorship. So my mom first saw a white glow instead of the red glow. If you remember back in the day if you have a flash that goes off on the photograph, you'll
Mm,
see red eyes. But
mm,
instead it was a white eye. And so, this was the days of Kodak where you had to wait, go to the grocery store or the convenience store, wait for the picture to come out. So it was 99% accurate. So she
yeah.
knew that something was wrong because she would look at the photo. First, she said she saw, in sunny South Florida, the sunlight is on my people. So she saw it then. But of course, it's just the blink, and I look away and I do what I do. I'm a newborn, right? So then she took a photograph of it, and then that's when she saw the proof of, oh, there's a white glow in my daughter's right eye. What is that? First, she took it around to her coworkers, and then I did have a pediatrician at that time. When by the time it was time for, I believe at first, my 3 month checkup, and the pediatrician was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's nothing." But the power of knowledge, she's like, no, 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 this is not nothing. And so she then, it took some time and it took some research as well, but she then was able to get a second opinion. And shortly after that second opinion, I was able to have a enucleation, the removal of my right eye. We went to a specialist who specialized in specifically retinoblastoma in childhood eye cancer,
Mm,
and
mm.
got my right eye surgically removed. So I was 9 months old, and I have been a eye cancer survivor since I was 9 months old.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay. When your mom went to that mom's gut, that intuition, and was like, nah, I'm not going for that. You're not gonna tell me. I know. I mean, that gave me chills because that right there, that's that sense. And of course, my mother's out there, y'all know, please, it's a reason why God put that in us. Okay. So when you got that little feeling, and or you like you got a little hunch, a little sense, go on that. I mean, your mom is amazing. Your mom, I mean, hero, advocate, empowering woman, all of that stuff. Oh my goodness, man. I mean, she did not go for the whole, no, she knew. I mean, for her to just be in tune like that, even with the picture and just noticing that. I mean, I just pray that again, that, mothers out there, especially if you're a new mom, pay attention. Please pay attention. Don't feel like it's okay if you are, you know what I'm saying, you acting a little bit too scary or whatever the case. It's like, hey, listen, I'm glad that your mom was being overly cautious. And then she took it a step further. She said, no, she said, I'm going to get a second opinion. I mean, that right there is just, that is just something, it's in awe. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's really the word that comes to my mind. I'm just like, I appreciate your mom. You know what I'm saying? I haven't met her. She's dope. Tell her she dope. Please let her make sure she's hearing this. You know what I'm saying? She listens to this podcast because I'm just like, wow. And so you also, I remember you mentioning though too, in terms of with you being partially deaf as well, correct? Now, can you
So
explain to us, why is that? How did that occur?
yes, so
Yes.
now fast forward, I'm
Okay.
now 3 years old, and we
Okay.
had left Florida, but we moved to Tennessee because that's where my dad's from, right? So
Okay.
one, why not get a change of environment, be around family, change of location, and just see what it's like if we can get different medical care. But while I'm with family, we had my dad's side of family had family get-togethers. My mom's side of the family had family reunions, right? So there's a
Okay.
big difference. So at
Okay.
the get-together, I'm enjoying the music, but remember I'm 3 years old. I'm running around with my big cousin,
Yeah.
but I loved music so much also that she one day found me to kind of go too close to one of the speakers. And so she was like, trying to tell me to back up away from the speakers so, my hair doesn't blow out. But she said that at that time, I had already said, I can't hear it. I want to hear the music. I can't hear the music. So that drove her to then get me a hearing test. And through that hearing test, she was able to discover that I had already started to have a mild hearing loss in both of my ears, and I was able to get tested for hearing aids. Um, However, that also didn't come easy as well. She wanted to know why, who, what, when, where, how, and why. So
Yeah.
as time went on, it was a result of one of the radiation treatments that I got. She had choices too as far as what kind of treatment I was able to get,
Mm.
um, to recover from the surgery. So of course I could have done chemotherapy, but instead it was radiation. And nowadays there's another treatment that people use called, give me cryotherapy, where it kind of like ice away the tumor as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, there's lots of options now to really heal tumors, but at the time the choice was radiation, and so that was one of the side effects. So the hearing loss was one of the side effects.
Okay. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, man. I mean, yeah. And I'm just, all of this stuff is just like so amazing to hear because, number one, I'm thinking about all of the things that you've accomplished. You being an author, creative strategist, brand consultant, podcaster. I know some other hijabs that you're wearing, okay, that you definitely are going to share with us. And it just goes to show you, that. And I was just actually in speaking of the book, and I was reading about, your mom, and she, in terms of her journal entries, is just saying how of a strong, you've always been strong, what I'm saying, always been a fighter. And I'm like, and this is what I'm talking about right here. So it just literally just goes to show you that, folks ain't got no excuses. I mean, people can say, all day long, well, this happened to me or whatever the case. And again, I'm not negating, of course, everybody has struggles, but at the same time, we just have to tap into that greatness. And what I'm also hearing from you is that the support from your family, your mother and your father, being there, advocating for you. Uh, can you just please just tell everybody how important that is? And especially to even when it comes to building that foundation of reading, how crucial it is to have that family support.
Absolutely, and um, that's I think that's often the missing key, that it was both of my parents. You know, when my mom was not strong, she could lean on my dad.
Mm.
Um, and then when my dad was not strong, they would lean on each other. You know, and that's black love for you. You know that they could do that,
Yep.
and that really did play a role first and foremost in having that strong foundation, and even me being the strong woman that I am today. My dad is also um, educated. He's educated. He's a military veteran, and
Mm.
he also chose to revert to Islam as well. And so, one, he actually reverted after he was going to start theology studies, and then he discovered Islam when he went to go visit family for the summer in Ohio. And it's like, no, I think I'm gravitating towards Islam. So,
Mm.
between his military journey as well. I got another book. We got authors in the family now, so there's another book called At Their Feet. It was
Yeah.
actually just published December or November 2022. It's an
Okay.
anthology by Zarina El, and so my dad's in here, Abdul Hadi Muhammad El. So his story's in there as well. But I come from literally, Cherokee Native American on his side as well. So strength through and through. And so I think to answer the question when it comes to reading, I think one of my fondest memories is I think maybe I was probably about 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock, but 5 years old.
Mhm.
Um, and I would always see my dad just with a newspaper, like clockwork. Every Sunday he
Mm.
would have that
Mm.
newspaper. So, I'm over here just admiring the photographic view of my dad and his glasses and coffee in the newspaper. But,
Mm.
the older I get, the more I realize that once I was able to get the Sunday newspaper of my own before they went away, before it went digital,
I
how
know.
important it was, to stay up to date with the current times. And so that was, for me, that different level of how important reading is when it comes to not just looking back at the history, but also being present to what's going on and also being prepared for the future as well.
Mm. And you know what? And seeing that right there is key because what you talked about is that modeling reading piece. And that's one of the things that's a missing component that's in our communities, in our families, in which our children are growing up in households where everybody got these, but a lot of times, in their hands rather, but a lot of times, you have our young people, especially those who come from communities in which, it's definitely severely economically depressed. A lot of abandoned buildings, a lot of just, degradation around them. You have, these are the children who typically wind up suffering when it comes to reading. And then if you got this in your hand and you're just scrolling and you're not reading, because yeah, you can have that phone in your hand and be reading. And that's
You can
something
watch
that
the podcast on your phone, but
exactly right, you know what I'm saying, so but for you to go and to have that memory imprinted, in your head, like, okay, my dad faithfully, like clockwork, was reading a newspaper, and that's one of the things I remember with my dad actually as well. Now he wasn't, he would, it wasn't like clockwork, you know what I'm saying? But I do remember, him having those times where he would read the paper, whatever the case may be. It wasn't a lot of book reading, definitely in my home. And in fact, I didn't have that experience that you had in terms of, my mom reading to me and all of those types of things, because of the fact just, growing up with parents who, again, being a product of that environment of, okay, I gotta hustle, I gotta survive. My mom was a single mom, okay, she only had me. However, it was a struggle. So it was always about, okay, I gotta go to work. Okay, I gotta make sure I pay the rent, get the food, get the clothes, you know what I'm saying? Gotta make sure I have that. So who has time to have a book in front of them, right? You know what I mean? So, but again, it is a mindset. Your parents made sure they were intentional, and that's the thing that I'm definitely, getting from you. They were in sync. They were intentional about making sure they developed that culture of literacy in your home, and that is just phenomenal. What
yeah.
about,
And but speaking of intentional though, I think what makes
yes,
it different is that one, I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest of
okay,
siblings.
okay,
Two, this is one of they were one of those generations that wanted to make that shift. They too came from that environment. Like my mom was a sibling of five in New York, in one, all the girls in one bed, the boy in one bedroom, and that's it,
mm,
right? And
okay,
then my dad, he was raised by his grandma on a farm, right? So,
wow.
they come from the most relatable struggles, and so they were that generation that were like, okay, we have this miracle in our hand. Let's be intentional about being different.
Wow. And see, and I'm glad that you said that, because really that's the key with anything. That's what Zaakirah is, the mindset. That's I mean, really, and that's what I've been trying, and this is what I continue to try to get people to understand. It's about your mindset. If you have an intention to break generational curses, because that's one of my things that I'm intentional about doing. I said, okay, look, I'm not going to have my children grow up in a household where they are not seeing their mom reading. Okay, they have to see me, putting reading first. They have to see me modeling reading. I want them to go to bed with bedtime stories. All right, I want to be able to change that negative trajectory that a lot of us grew up with in the African American community, and say, no, this is what we got to cut out. Some things, yeah, we keep. You know what I mean? That is healthy. That is something that is helping our families. But the things that is not healthy, no, we need to cut that out. You know what I'm saying? Big time.
Mhm.
And so I
Well, I'll just say right now, though, my favorite
yes.
bedtime story was Good Night Moon.
Ah!
That-
Oh my gosh. Wow. 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 Oh my goodness. It's funny. I remember somebody, a family member who was they said that was one of their favorite stories. Good Night Moon. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Beautiful. That's yeah, I'm quite sure a lot of y'all know about Good Night Moon, right? That's a popular, little bedtime story. And if you're not familiar with it, please go and check it out. Real cute little story. So wow, that's what I'm talking about. And speaking on the types of books. So in terms of, was your mom, because I know you talked about James Baldwin, she kept in her hands, Zora Neale Hurston and all of that. So was she reading from those books to you when you were younger? Like, would she be like reading excerpts, or did she like try to get books that like more children's books, you know, a lot of times that represented Black characters? Like, what was the type of book she usually read to you?
She was definitely one of those of rooting for everybody Black, first and
Ah,
foremost, for sure.
come on,
But
the bomb,
secondly,
okay.
I think it really just with age came the different kinds of books, or
Yeah,
the different
okay,
formats of reading.
okay.
So I easily remember those authors because when I would be fascinated about what are you reading, like what are you interested in, why are you so emotional over this book or that? So she would
Wow.
tell me, she would read me excerpts, but it really just whatever I was interested in as I grew up, she kind of gravitated toward me. So the um the doll, what's it called? The American um girl dolls, when they had the whole shebang, the books, the dolls, the
Oh, oh yeah,
movies,
that's right. Okay, okay,
that was, a thing
okay.
of when I was probably about 7 to 13. And then
Mm-hmm.
before I turned to 13, it was the Highlight magazine. By the time I turned 13, it was Chicken Soup for Soul. So no matter what, I grew with reading. Like I literally growing up in the library, at that age, my reading level increased as well. But I honestly, because I was being read to at such a young age, that I was gifted in language, gifted in English, gifted
Mm.
in reading at school. So um, it really just grew with wherever I was, in school and outside of school. But outside of school, it was literally everybody and anything Black.
Wow, that's what's up. That's super dope. And I wanted to make a segue now and still in line with talking about reading, because as we know, writing is related to reading. Those who are great writers, they are definitely voracious readers, because in order for your writing skills to be on point, you know, you have to read a lot. And so now I want to segue into what made you get into writing your own book. Did you start with were you journaling a lot, you know, and then, you know, tell us about, you know, your idea for your book, Seeing Life Through a Different Lens.
Yes. So the book did start off with journaling. The writing experience did start off with journaling, at least for me.
Okay.
So I actually, was blessed to learn how to write cursive in kindergarten. So
Yay.
yeah, I've been writing for a very long time. And also,
Mm,
because of I think all the post-traumatic stress and trauma from the surgery, although I don't remember anything, like that's blacked out of my memory,
yeah.
it started to show as I started to become a school student and engaging with other children, or lack of. I would not engage. My mom would say, the teachers would call her like, your daughter is not talking. Is she okay? But
Mm,
my mom just started to gather that I just refused to use my voice. I didn't want to engage. But that was actually one of the first tools. After the camera first, I was introduced to a camera at the age of 5. And then, of course, I next was, writing, and then writing in cursive, and then journal writing. So for me, it did start with journal writing.
mm,
I also was in a lot of the advanced placement programs where they kind of had you writing and or typing a lot of essays, a lot of storytelling, a lot of what did you read over the summer? Give me that book report. Um, but my mom, yes, she journaled first and foremost. She journaled throughout her pregnancy with me. And then, of course, when she was going through everything that she was going through as the parent of a cancer survivor.
yeah.
So the book then also came in as that's pretty much what it is, journal entries. It's almost like conversation like you and I. But my mom shares her story, I share my story, she shares her story, I share my story. So it's both journal excerpts, um, compiled also from 18 to, I think that book came out when I was about 27. So yeah, it's just journal entries and conversations that led to that specific book. But yeah, like you said, it really did start with writing. And for me, it started with writing and journaling at a very young age.
Wow. That is super dope. And I mean, and hopefully again, I usually remind my listeners to make sure they have a notebook and something to write with when they're listening, because I have people on here dropping jewels and nuggets, okay? They're being dropped all of the time. And one of the things that you brought up that's so key is by you journaling. Obviously, when somebody's journaling, did you always have a notebook and pencil? Like you always pretty much kind of kept a notebook with you and pen or pencil? Like,
Yeah,
when you go, okay, okay.
yeah. Like whenever we would, for example, we were living in Tampa, Florida.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm,
I think the one time we were not going back and forth between school, trying to stay close to the best medical care. I did like all of my middle school in Tampa, Florida. But
mm-hmm.
in order to go stay stay with the doctor that is the good doctor, stay with the doctor that discovered the diagnosis, we would take train trips or road trips to Miami, Florida. So
Okay.
that was always an essential part of my backpack. Yes, I need my toiletries and my clothes, but I need a notebook and a pen and a pencil too.
Yes. Oh wow. And that's something I literally I just did a workshop. We was it was another lady, she actually set it up. Shout out to Miss LaDosha Wright. She actually was a guest on my podcast as well. She's the author, and she owns a hair salon, an educator on hair. And one of the things that we did, we were talking to a group of women at the YWCA, and the series was about coping, and what things you can do, healthy ways to cope. And so I talked to them about reading and writing. And one of the things that I made sure that I told them, I said, as much as you possibly can, keep a notebook and something to write with you. It for anything. It could be, maybe a feeling that you got about something you want to write down. It could be an idea, a business idea. We think about a lot of stuff, right? You always, you got so many different thoughts going across your head. And a lot of those thoughts could be the one that's going to help you write your book, start your business, okay, whatever it may be. And so you want to be prepared. So you're schooling us, Zaakirah, just so you know. You know what I'm saying? You are definitely schooling us. I want you to talk a little bit, because I know we definitely coming up on time. I know you got stuff to do and everything, busy lady. I want you to tell us though, in terms of with the book, what was there any hard parts for you, emotional parts for you in writing this book? Give us your feelings in terms of your journey in writing your book.
Yeah, the first thing that's coming to mind is one of the best reviews that I got, one of the best Amazon reviews that I got for the book, Seeing Life Through a Different Lens,
Yeah.
is that it was an author who claimed to never or rarely read nonfiction. He wants to know how to get it done, right? But what he said was what kind of struck him to keep him reading and engaged in the book was really how it was a how to see life more positively.
Mm.
So going with that, yes, there were lots of stories that it actually this book for my mom it took 18 years to produce. For me, it took an additional 3 years because it was that hard. It was like, well, am I ready to relive any of that?
Mm.
Um, and but also one of the experiences that I also learned is that there were some chapters that I was still living before the book even published. So that too, where it's like, okay, how do you, like you said, have all your coping methods, all of it, all of the healthy ones, and still just, remember your why, remember your purpose, that this story is not about me, although it is about me. It's
Yeah.
really about, we, and it's really about how to really overcome that any level of adversity. So there's tons of them in every chapter of life, from the childhood to um, teenager to young adult. So plenty of them. So it's definitely a roller coaster of a book, but that's what makes a good book.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, and to keep in line with, I know you talked about in terms of the person who gave that review. So let me ask you, is that the takeaway or one of the takeaways that you would say you want people to have after reading your book, uh, having more of a positive outlook? And then, of course, with that, is there anything else you want people to take away from reading your book?
Absolutely, yes. One of the takeaways is definitely it will definitely be that book for you to shift your outlook on life
Mhm,
and to operate in a stronger sense of gratitude.
mhm,
Two, it's also a great book for advocating for yourself, no matter what level of ism or marginalization you go through. It is definitely that book that really shows you or empowers you to advocate for yourself. And last but not least, it shows you, empowers you how to uh, step outside of your comfort zone and walk in your purpose, whether that is
mhm.
that business, that book, that podcast. that tutoring company, that school, that bookstore, no matter what it is,
Yes,
it
yes.
definitely does empower you to do that, because that's kind of where the book ends. I then, by the time the book ends, you kind of, like you said, like Sankofa, you got to look back in order to go forward. So
That's
the
right.
book does end just talking about um, why I did choose, one, the entrepreneurial route, and
Mhm.
two, why I do choose to be a creative strategist and utilize my gift of visual storytelling for minority-owned businesses.
Wow, that is amazing. Tell everybody before I have a couple more questions before we get ready to, end our just awesome conversation. So the first thing I want you to tell everybody is, give us a little bit more detail about what you do. You're being a creative strategist, and then I would like for you to leave us with three ways in which you would suggest to help people and help families start to develop that culture of literacy in their families. All right. So first, tell us what you do, and also give us the three strategies to help our families
I
develop.
think I'm gonna do it the other way around, because I'm
Okay.
I'm thinking of
Okay.
those two things right now.
Go, girl, do it how you want to do, honey.
All right. So first, um, utilize your library. They are still around. They're still hanging on tight, and they're
Yep.
still there for you. Additionally, they have I can't think of their name right now, but they have online subscription options now for
Yes.
books, audiobooks. And I say support the library and support those programs first. Don't bootleg the book. That maybe that's the
I
next
know,
step.
right?
Don't
Please
bootleg any book,
don't do that.
because you are it is group economics as well. No matter what book you are
Yeah.
reading or listening to, it is group economics. So definitely utilize that to when you're supporting the community. I recommend, continuing to get books that gravitate towards you. Not necessarily just because, oh, I love this, so let me go ahead and buy a book. No, no, no.
Oh.
Is it gonna support you? Is it gonna empower you? Is it gonna inspire you?
Mm.
Um, three, have those conversations. I think what happens now, we don't even talk about it. We don't, like, another aspect of communication and storytelling for me is that both my mom and I are also avid movie watchers. And at the end of every movie, we would actually conversate about what we got out of that movie. Not just, do you remember that part? That part was so funny. Oh, you saw that joke? No, we
Mm.
actually talked about, like, you know what? I really appreciated the fact that we could actually learn something different about this, or actually I got
Mm.
emotional over this part because, so having those kind of conversations um around not just that, and that for me really helped me. I think I also throw in another book. There's a book that we mentioned in the book, but I also mention it now. It's
Mm-hmm.
called Teenage as a Second Language. So one, that book came out because, just as the title says, that when you're teenagers, if they want to talk to you, you're not going to understand what the heck they're saying. So the book does literally translate that, but also it translates into that being that emotional safety in order for them
Mm.
to want to tell you
Mm.
what's going on. So I say all that. Conversation, have a conversation. Buy the book that will empower, inspire, educate you, and get it from the library.
Mm. All right. That's woo, woo. I love those trends. Those are awesome. Awesome, awesome, y'all. And now I want you to tell everybody what it is. Go get a little more detail, especially we got our young people out here. I want them to hear different, career options. All right. So please tell everybody what you do.
Yes, so I am a creative strategist, and so I empower minority-owned businesses to tell their stories through digital media, through any realms of media, whether that is through podcasts, through books, through video, or through photography. And with that, that empowers minority-owned businesses as well to step outside of their comfort zone, choose entrepreneurship, take ownership of their purpose, and really live a life of ease and clarity. And so I've been an entrepreneur predominantly for almost 2 decades now, but officially over a decade. And over a decade, I've helped over 3 dozen just minority-owned businesses to start and grow their business. And I do that through workshops, in person, online, through my own podcast, through my own email list, and of course through my books. I think I'll say plural. We're manifest that right now, plural books.
Thank you.
Um, and yeah, so books, podcasting, workshops, um, summits, and I also travel internationally both for speaking and photography. So that anybody, literally visual storytelling by any means necessary. So.
Wow, that is amazing. So y'all hear all of that, all of this dope stuff that you are doing. And let me add, you were born. What year were you born? Was it say 92?
I was born in '92.
Yeah, I thought I read that in the book. I was like, okay, here it is. I'm like graduating from high school, and she was born, and you just like
Came
you.
out the womb running.
I mean, my
I came
goodness,
early. I
y'all.
came a whole month early.
Yep.
More fun fact. I came a whole month early. I was supposed to be born on my brother's birthday, but
Mm.
instead I wanted to be born on my brother's half sister's birthday.
You said, nah, I'm gonna have my own birthday, okay? I ain't about to be born on his birthday. I'm gonna have my own. Oh my goodness. I mean, you are just doing just so many great things, honey. And you still a youngin', all right? Y'all just gotta, just so gorgeous and just you're just doing it. And I am just absolutely proud of you. I thank you for sharing your story and your vulnerability, transparency, and you do it with such boldness. I just love it. And this is what not just our young people. You inspiring me, okay? And I'm just like, wow, man. I mean, so this is what's up. I love it. I absolutely love it. Can you, and this is it, I promise, last thing. I want you to tell us what books what books are you reading now, and what books have inspired you? So this is like it's a question, but it got a couple questions
Yeah.
inside of one question.
So ask it again. I know it's two parts. You
Yes,
said
two-part question. So
first
what book
part.
yep, so what books have inspired you? And
Okay.
then what book are you reading, or books are you reading right currently?
Um, there's so many books that have inspired me because I'm big on biographies. I want to know how they made it through their tough time too.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
um, there's so many books that have inspired me. I think I'm gonna just leave that answer. The second part, the
Yes.
books that I'm reading right now that are really just gravitating towards me. I think similarly to uh, all my life, now that I've said this out loud and I realize that no matter
Mm-hmm.
what phase of life I am going through, those are the books that I gravitate towards. When I
Yeah.
was married, I was reading all the relationship books. When I was, starting my business, I was reading all the business books. And so for me, because I'm at a different level where I've been in business for a while, it's like, okay, how can I really scale? A couple of the books that I'm reading, one is We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. It's Rodgers with the
Or P.
Rodgers. We
Okay.
Should All Be Millionaires. Another book that's gravitating toward me, although I am a Muslim woman, I gravitate towards any woman, especially Black women of faith. And
Yep.
so another book that I'm reading is called Believe Bigger by Marshawn Evans Daniels.
Okay.
Um, and like I said, there's a lot of books. So let me try to
Yeah.
find
That's
one more.
okay. Okay. Let's say
I
you
think
that's up to you.
there's a book that just came out,
Okay.
and it's by Bozoma St. John. So
Hmm.
she used to work at Netflix and all of the most popular marketing companies. I can't think of it. The book literally just came out.
Okay.
But
Oh.
Zoma St. John, look for that book. And she's of Ghanaian descent, but she starts off, although, she's known, if you Google her, you'll see all things marketing come up. But
Okay.
her book is also a super powerful read or listen about adversity as well. She's gone through so much as well, and she did so well of just hiding it as a public figure. But
Okay.
the most recent book by Bozoma St. John.
Nice. Wow. And that's what I'm talking about. I have my guests do that so that again we can hear different titles, right? So I want everybody to get it's not no just one specific genre. You all should be exposed to many different genres. And matter of fact, it makes me think about what Malcolm X said, may Allah be pleased with him, how he said that read pretty much in a nutshell. He said, read everything you can get your hands on. Okay. He was, as we know, he was a voracious reader. It wasn't about no, he just read one particular type of book. He was reading everything, which is actually brilliant. Why? Because then you get to hear or read about rather all different types of perspectives. All right. And even if there's a time where you may have to and you're maybe engaging in a debate or something like that, or talking about something, you can have knowledge, of that particular subject. So you can know what the hell you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense, right? To just stay read up, okay? Period, point blank. Well, with all of that being said, Zaakirah, I thank you again for accepting the invitation to come on my podcast. And I'm definitely looking forward to us having another conversation again. And what I would love for you to do is tell everybody where they can follow you, and also where they can purchase your book. You'll make sure y'all support this sister now. All right, go ahead. Tell everybody, please, where they can follow you.
There you go. So do me a favor, hold the book up, and then I'll tell people
Yeah.
exactly where they can find it. So you see that cover right there, Seeing Life Through a Different Lens, a survivor's memoir on overcoming adversity with resilience, is on my website first and foremost, zaakirahnayar.com /book. It is also on Amazon. But again, support your author first, because zaakirahnayar.com /book, audio, paperback, and digital copy. It is also on Amazon, Google, Barnes and Noble, the whole bit. And then you can also follow. I think I said this on another podcast. So catch me if you can. But you can also follow me on social media at Illuminous1, ILLUMINOUSONE, and that's actually Arabic for my middle name, which is Nayar. So you may see some social media handles show up as Zaakirah Nayar. Because I just shortened it, because people can barely, if they're not of people of faith, they always butcher Zaakirah anyway. So I'm just like, just Zaakirah Nayar, just remember that.
Yeah.
So you can find me there, and catch me in a city near you. I'm also working on in-person workshops that serve as 1, book signing, 2, personal branding workshops, and 3, mindfulness exercises. So come to a city near you. Yeah. First stop is Atlanta, Georgia, and then we'll see when Ohio's gonna come out. Because I got any shop that I'm going, it's gonna be family too. Because we're also working on a documentary. So we're working on all things visual creative for this story. So by any means necessary.
Honey, I mean, goodness, y'all. Yes. Okay. All right. Just the things you do. It's just like this. It's just so breathtaking. I love it. It's refreshing, empowering, amazing, phenomenal. All of those adjectives. You're doing a damn thing, Zaakirah, and I'm proud of you. And once again, I thank you for gracing us with your presence here on Real Reading Talk.
Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. And again, like I said, this was Zaakirah Nayar Muhammad. All right. And she is such a phenomenal sister. And please make sure you follow her. I am going to put her social media handles in the description so that you all can go ahead and make sure that you follow her immediately. And I'm going to put the link as well, Zaakirah, for them to purchase the book too. All right. So this was the episode. What episode was this? Good Lord. I think this was episode 6, y'all. That's a dang on shit. I'll go back and figure it out. This season 3, episode 5 or 6, one of the two. Real Reading Talk. And I hope that you all enjoyed this episode, got much benefit. And please remember to keep reading for at least 30 minutes a day. And remember, reading is freedom. Thank you for listening. Peace. Well, what can I say, y'all? I told you all it was going to be some nuggets being dropped, okay? Zaakirah Nayar Muhammad. Please remember her name. When you think about giving up, please remember her name, okay? When you start doubting yourself, when you start thinking that, man, should I do this? Or I just got this hardship, oh my God. Please remember her name, okay? And, she's still a youngster. She's young in my eyes, okay? She was born when I graduated from high school, all right? So, and she's just putting out just phenomenal things. She understands her purpose. And so, as you all saw, that's why I had her on the show, all right? Because I want us all to get used to being around people who have a great mindset. People who are about trying to be the best version of themselves. Those are the type of people that I want you all to be inundated with when you all are listening to my podcast. So with all of that being said, I hope you all gain much benefit from this episode. Now, let's switch the gears. And I want to remind you all that I am a pre-K through fourth grade reading tutor. My reading tutoring business is entitled ABC Learn Tutoring. And I'm also a certified dyslexia tutor. Yes, indeed. So if your child has been diagnosed with dyslexia, yes, I can help your baby, all right? And I also tutor online, okay? So you do not have to be from my hometown of Cleveland. If you are in Florida, all right? Wherever you are across the globe, as long as you got that internet, we good, okay? So with all of that being said, abclearntutoring.com is my website, and click on that free reading assessment. Also, I am the founder and executive director of ABC Read, a nonprofit organization. Been in existence since 2014, gave over 5,000 books, y'all. Books that majority represent Black people, cultural experiences, history, okay? New or gently used for the whole family, all right? So check us out. Go to abcread.org. We are accepting donations all the time, okay? So you just click that donate button, help us out, because we are still on our mission and we're going to fulfill our mission, okay? Also, I have created a brand called Reading is Freedom, okay? And just like you all heard in the episode, right, where she said she's a descendant of Frederick Douglass, okay? And I'm always talking about once you learn to read, you will be forever free, because that's what he said. That is why I started Reading is Freedom, okay? Let me gotta show you all the shirt, of course. Bam, 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 okay? So please go to my store, readingisfreedom.store. You can cop this one. I have other designs as well. So please go check it out, okay? Make sure that you are sharing this podcast. I'm on all the podcast platforms, all right? So you got Google, Apple, all right, Spotify. Yes. So you need to make sure that you are leaving comments, also that you're sharing and giving some great reviews, y'all. Please make sure you do that. And I also want to make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Reading is Freedom. Okay, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave comments. Make sure that you like. Make sure you hit the notification bell. All that stuff. You know we got to say all this stuff. It'd be like a mouthful, but you got to say this stuff, right? So, and last but not least, I just want to share with you all the books that I've been reading. Of course, I'm reading this book, Seeing Life Through a Different Lens. Hello? No brainer, okay? A survivor's memoir on overcoming adversity with resilience. And yes, I just started digging into it, and that is what I'm getting already, okay? And, you know, I'm always referring to this book here. Okay, post-traumatic slave syndrome. Okay, I got to keep that on deck. In this book right here, all right, Born in Blackness, all right, Africans in the Making of the Modern World, 1471 to the Second World War, written by Howard W. French, all right? So I started reading this book, and I think this book is important because of the fact we have to make sure that we stop starting our legacy with enslavement, okay? So that's why this is needed, okay? We have to learn about the kingdoms that were in Africa, this African civilizations, all right? These are the things that we have to know about that was going on pre-colonialism, okay? Period, and imperialism, all right? So with all that being said, that's it. I believe this was episode 6. I should have had it written down. Sorry. I did forget, but this is season 3. I ain't forget that, okay? I've been putting in that work with them episodes, okay? Let me tell you. So with all of that being said, thank you all for listening. And make sure, again, that you subscribe, like, share, comment, all of that, because it's going to be on YouTube, all right? Thank you all for listening. And please make sure that you keep reading for at least 30 minutes a day. And remember, reading is freedom. The quote, once you learn to read, you will be forever free. Frederick Douglass. All right, y'all. I'm Miss Sasha. Peace.